On to our next subject here. Yo, homeboy.
Edgar Berlanga.
See, so I said that he was ready.
Edgar Berlanga.
You've been waiting since I hit the record button for me to say yo, homeboy.
I was hoping we were going there first, but you know what? You toned me down a little bit. All the rest of the discussion got me there. We had a little sidebar, and I had I was kind of going off on that. So Edgar Berlanga, he fought.
You mad at him?
Not mad at him.
You mad,
but disappointed.
You mad?
So we fought Damon Nicholson. Went unanimous decision.
Before you go here, Jorge is mad.
Not mad.
No. Jorge, you sounded perturbed. Now you can go ahead and talk.
When the trainer slapped him in the 8th round, I think you kind of get the impression why I was a little bit annoyed as well, too, because I think the trainer saw what I saw. So Edgar Berlanga, 8th-round unanimous decision. So this is his first time finally going past the first round. This is the first fight he's had in 17 fights where he's actually gone past the full fight.
Yep.
So only decision on his record. And with that said, if you count the total amount of minutes he's fought prior to this fight, he basically fought maybe 5 rounds total combined, right? So he hasn't really seen a lot of action.
Yeah.
Altogether, right? Cumulative. Here's my thoughts right off the bat.
Mm-hmm.
Conditioning, I have a problem with already. By the 3rd round, he was already breathing out of his mouth. So that tells me a couple of things. That tells me his training camp, maybe he wasn't sparring longer than 3 rounds. Wasn't at the very least. It showed by like I said, this is already the beginning of the 3rd round. His mouth was open. He was not.
It shows he's not running in boots in the mountain hills like Rocky enough.
Exactly. So and the thing is, Berlanga's got footage out there on YouTube. Check it out, guys. But he's got stuff on TikTok, YouTube, where you can actually see him doing some of his training and stuff. That one training day doesn't account for the right amount of training he would necessarily need to go for a full, 3 rounds, 5 rounds, 8 rounds, 10 rounds, 12 rounds, whatever it is. So, like I said, by the 3rd round, he was already breathing pretty heavy. I'm glad he didn't try to go for the knockout, which is what the fans wanted. And shout out to my fans out there, to the fans out there in Orlando and Kissimmee, big Puerto Rican crowd there. They were in house and they were loud and boisterous, and it was great to see that over in Kissimmee. Like I said, I'm looking forward to seeing a fight down there when I get a chance. But that said, not enough body punching. That was your observation when we talked about this. And in my opinion, even though you thought he jabbed enough, I didn't think he did jab enough.
Well, not early, but I felt by the end of the fight that he established his jab and he did what he needed to do. But yeah, I felt you're right. He could have jabbed more. I mean, he's a young fighter. I think everybody needs to jab freaking more.
Exactly.
No one jabs enough in
the game. Jab enough to set up your big punches and stuff. When I see more of your big punches and then your jabs are looking a little bit not as authoritative, right? Not as authoritative as a Cotto, as a Trinidad. 2 guys that you, in an article, said that you looked up to. So to me, when you can't go to the body like Cotto and you can't properly use your jab the way you need to, like Cotto or Trinidad, then you have a lot of work to do. So actually, he's supposed to be fighting Jesse Hart now coming up June 12th and stuff. I'm a little worried.
Week after the Logan Paul Teofimo fight, man, yeah. June is popping.
June is popping, but I am definitely a little worried just because, like I said, by the 8th round of that fight, he's sitting on the bench and his trainer gives him a nice smack in the face. Took me dad to Trinidad's dad, to Cotto's uncle. I mean, I to me that was loved it because I'm like, you need to show this kid how serious this is about listening to your trainer at the end of every round. So in other words, if you could admit post-conference that you weren't listening to your trainer, you deserve that slap. I slap you every round.
Didn't he do push-ups after the fact too?
Yes, he did. The kid's got some work to do. And I'll say this, he at least recognizes he got some work to do.
Yeah.
So I'm going to give him the Ryan Garcia treatment that I gave him episodes earlier on when we first started and stuff. I'm going to give him the Garcia treatment and advice.
Wow.
Do not speak of Canelo, Caleb Plant, Benavidez, nobody in the top 5, top 6 at super middleweight until you get your shit together. 5 fights. I want to see 5 fights where you get your shit together, work on the things you need to improve on. Your defense could use some improvement too. I didn't like some of those clean punches you were getting hit at. Anybody else would have knocked your ass down. Come on.
Wow. Ryan Garcia.
Yeah, no, he needs work to do. Look, I care about the young man. He's 23 years old.
Wow.
I care about your career, longevity. Wow. I want you to be a great professional. Yeah, a whole island, not just New York and Florida, a whole island looking at you. So you got it's just more than just coming in, to the fight, weighing a little bit more than the 168, probably eating some arroz and gandules. You need to basically kind of come in there conditioned.
He's been the Espanol people.
Okay. I mean, at this point, the way you looked in that ring, you're like you're ready to come into 175 the day after.
Ooh.
Not yet. You want to fight those fights at 168? Condition yourself right, my friend.
Okay. I don't know what to say right now. Ouch. I was not expecting you to go full Ryan Garcia on him like that. If you have not checked out our show and listened to old episodes, he goes in on Ryan Garcia. Jorge Papo doesn't. He goes hard on Ryan Garcia. And if you heard the old episodes about Berlanga, you would thought that was his first cousin that he is raised in the household with him. And then after this weekend, he was so disappointed. Like, you hurt my heart is heavy. More. My heart is heavy. That's what you sound. You sound like a father disappointed that your son didn't beat it up right.
Look, any fathers out there who have their sons, especially if their oldest is a son, you have high expectations. And it's unfortunate because I am the oldest of all my siblings.
Yeah.
And my dad had high expectations for me as well. So to me, your dad's always gonna have high expectations, whether you're the youngest, the middle, or the youngest, or the oldest, but it doesn't matter. The oldest is always the one. To me, that has to be the one, the example, right? The one that they have to set right for the siblings to kind of follow. I expected more. I expected a lot more. I'm not going to bullshit. I expected a lot out of this kid. When you knock out guys in the first round, I expect there to be some questions with your conditioning. I did not expect that there'd be some questions with some of your technique. That I did have a problem with. Again, everything. I mean, you learn from Cotto, you learn from training, you learn from any great fighter. Get that jab going. Pump out that jab. Good things are going to happen for you.
I'll say good things before I get into the bad. He needed these 8 rounds.
Yes, he did. I agreed.
That 24 minutes in the ring, that is baptism by fire, even though it wasn't, a hard fight for him, but just to be in situations he's never seen before, outside of training, outside of sparring, to be in the 4th round at the 1 minute mark and knowing how your wind is, or maybe the 6th round and you took a shot, but it wasn't hurting, how you adjust to that. Certain things that you don't see when you knocking everybody the fuck out. You know what I'm saying? So he needed these 8 rounds. So that's good. He got the work in. Now, that's the only good I'm going to say.
And that's what scares me for this June 12th fight against Jesse Hart. Jesse Hart is a veteran, a veteran who's already called him out in the first place, already kind of highlighted some things he saw in his amateur career that, hey, he's been knocked out in his amateur career, folks. Edgar Berlanga has been knocked out. Again, he's 23 years old. So to me, he's still kind of an amateur. If you think about all the minutes he's put in his professional career, he's still an amateur. So
it doesn't have a deep amateur background. Like I said, before this fight, it wasn't even a full 16 fights, 16 knockouts in the first round. And not like he went the full 3 minutes each fight.
He's talking about 5 rounds combined.
Yeah, you're looking at a minute here, a minute and a half there, before he landed a clean right, or just it gets stopped. So I'm gonna point out that he needs to hire a strength and conditioning coach. Like you point out how he was gassed and how by the 3rd round you can tell he was breathing heavy on the stool and things of that nature. And before this fight, one thing I always recognize is this here, the midsection. How if you're not a heavy, this doesn't really matter much when you're in the heavyweight. You can weigh as you want. All you need is that one hitter quitter. If you got 12 rounds of jabs and right hooks, you're heavyweight. This doesn't matter here. Even though we see Deontay Wilder look like a freaking sculpture, right? And Anthony Joshua looking like sculptures. But when you're in the lower weight classes, like when I say lower, like if you have to make weight, and I know he's young. And I can see love handles. I can see rolls. I don't see a 6 or 8 pack. I just see just the first 2 part of your abs and everything. And you just trying to suck it in so you can flex. Nah, you need more conditioning. You need more work on that. He's young. So, of course, that's a lot of that's still baby fat, at 23. But for 168, I would not be surprised, Jorge, if he was in the ring at 190. On fight night.
On this fight night, he was definitely on the pudgier
how big
side.
he is 6'1", 6'2", and he's not string bean. Like you can see some guys who are tall and lean and they can carry a lower weight, like Paul Williams, how he was 6'1" and can be 147, 154, 160 about 10 years ago, right? He's 6'1" and he ain't he will, if he don't take care of his weight management, he will be a heavyweight when it's all said and done. But for him to be that young, and I see that pudginess there, and then you see that he was gassed out, He just needs to work with someone like, was it Bob Mackey, who I don't know if he's still doing it, like he helped out Bernard Hopkins when he trained himself to go to 160, 175 when he fought Tarver. He needs to find a true coach who is going to forget boxing. He already got a boxing. He got his trainer. He just needs those 4 or 5 days a week where he's just working on conditioning, training, strength, and then maintaining muscle memory. Exactly. Not being bulky where that you take off your punches because you lose your extension and your stretching. But that fat needs to be trimmed down so that he can be his best.
I'm gonna name a name that you probably have you laughing a little bit and stuff. Who was probably more that way, probably a better nutritionist than a fighter.
Who's that?
Chris Algieri.
Oh yeah. That was his background. He actually got I think a bachelor in science in sports kinesiology.
But that's a name that come off the top of my head.
Oh yeah, he trained guys too,
and he's a trainer as well. So to me, Chris Algieri, he's a good nutritionist. That is his background.
Yeah,
guys like him, guys that basically say, especially because he's got a fight background, he's probably going to be better suited for you anyways, because at least he'll understand what it takes for your body to be in the right shape to make 168 pounds and basically get some of that fat off with the right amount, with the right type of food and stuff.
Yeah, he's young, so you can just tell by his stature that that's just so much young fat, right? But he will not stay at 168 past 2022 at his current training regimen right now. He will be at 175 by next year easily if he maintains this, and he will be at cruiserweight by 2023. Basically, if he doesn't get, like, he's young, but all he needs is all he needs is a good 4 or 5 months with the right coach, and we can see a different fighter. As strong as he is, imagine having that power and then the conditioning to go 12 rounds. Because then he'll be stronger. You see how the power he has now? Imagine if you have that conditioning where you maintain your power in the 6th, 7th round. That's the things that you're not seeing in boxing that people don't talk about when you're doing the road work and you're getting your winning going, so you can go those longer rounds, because punches, you lose a little pop in those later rounds. But if you have your conditioning, your strength training, it's still going to be there because you're preparing yourself for those moments. And he's not there yet, and that's what he needs next.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, basically every round your hand should be a threat. By the 3rd round, if you're gassed and you're, I mean, and don't get me wrong, you had 4 knockdowns. 2 of those, a little questionable on my part, but the best knockdown was the last one, mainly because it was the last round, and you caught him clean and used a lot of technique to get there. So to me,
I will say though that if it was a 10-round fight, he would have took him out though. We're nitpicking him because we see the power, we see a good young fighter who has great potential, and if this was a 10-round fight, he got that 8th round, that 9th round, dude wouldn't have made it. You know what I'm saying? So it's one of those circumstances he needed that, but he's young. So let's see what happens with Jesse Hart. Jesse Hart is a legit battle-tested middleweight. I would pick Berlanga to win, but if there was a guy young in his development that could expose him to showcase things he needs to work out, this could be a fight here, especially a quick turnaround.
Yeah,
he didn't get hurt, but this could be one of those fights like we can see, okay, he's got the goods, or we need to dial it back a little bit so that he can work on these things here, or this may be what it is, and maybe we need to fast track him because this is what he is then.
So I mean, and look, and then I know there's a lot of nitpicking there, a lot of things that I saw there and stuff like that. Look, I have a lot of love for Edgar Berlanga. Still a lot of hope in you, my friend. I'm definitely a believer. Every fight you fight, I'm going to be watching and stuff. But I remember a young prospect, Puerto Rican prospect, that came up through Top Rank. His name was Felix Verdejo. And this is before this is before his motorcycle accident and stuff like that, though. A lot of lights on him. He was definitely getting primed up. He was getting an HBO. He was co-headlining fights and stuff. He was a guy that I was looking forward to having a great career and stuff. And after that motorcycle accident, he got, again, this is an aspect of him being young and doing something stupid and foolish, because he's never been the same ever since. So I would say keep your head in the game, keep your eyes on the prize and stuff, keep your eyes focused. Don't come into a fight like you just had Easter weekend meal. That's kind of like what you looked that day. It was the Easter weekend.
He was eating tamales, man. Tamales and chitlins. Yeah. I'm gonna put the combination together. He was eating tamales and chitlins.
You know what? That's like a diners, drivers, and dives. Guy Fieri type meal.
Hey guys, we're going over here to get some good chitlins and tamales. Here we go.
There we go. And a hot rod.
Yeah.
But so look, I mean, I look forward to seeing your next fight against Jesse Hart. Train well. And much love to you. You got my support. The whole island, New York, the Ricans here in Chicago, everybody's supporting you, my friend. Just we want you to succeed.
So on that note, we're gonna close out of here.